Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're here live pre-game before Benfica Fiorentina here in Connecticut. Benfica players still on the field. My name is Alfredo. I'm here with Mirla.
Hello.
You might know her as Mirla Cat from Twitter, and she's here in the press box also covering the game. Cristiano's not here, so we're going to try to do this without Cristiano. Benfica players are still on the field. In the middle, Fesa and Samaris. On the wings, Talishka and Gaitan up front, J Rod and Jonas Pistolas. So just a quick change from Lima to J Rod and Fesa to Pizzi was the only changes across the back. It's the same lineup that played. I'm sorry, with the difference of Andre Almeida that came on in a second half. So Sylvie did start in a first game, but I think he picked up a knock, so he's not in the lineup today. I don't know if he's going to be coming. Um, Interested in seeing the chemistry between Fesa and Samaris in the middle. What do you think?
I think it'll be interesting. If they gel pretty quickly, I think it could prove to be a very lucrative matchup for us going forward.
Yeah. Not only that, but also last year, Samaris was brought to be defensive midfield, and with Fesa coming on, it looks like he's going to take a step forward, unless there's going to be a change in the setup in the midfield.
I don't think that, especially with the news with Salvio maybe not being back the entire season, I think it's interesting because now you have to think of not having him and who's going to step in his shoes. And I think it's a real good possibility for him to just kind of come, okay, I'm just going to start doing this.
Yeah. And it looks like teams still on the starters are still on the field. The non-starters did go to the locker room. Of course, the news today is that Lima was sold to a club in the Middle East, Al Ali. If I'm not mistaken, I think I got the name right. Al Ali, 7 million, good piece of business. Benfica players are now going into the locker room. Rui Costa and Paul Souza were chatting for a very long time in the sidelines, old friends, of course. But so Benfica is pulling in right now. So as I was saying, the Lima sell to the Middle East, 7 million, good business for us, especially on the wrong side of, well, not the wrong side, but the starting the wrong side of the 30.
I agree. I mean, Lima's great. He is replaceable, though.
He's downstairs.
Really?
Yeah,
He's downstairs, but he's
Yeah, that's
in
okay.
leisure. Is in leisure clothes.
No, he's got Benfica stuff on.
He's in leisure clothes. It's not even
He
training.
looks like a fan. That's fine. He's got Benfica stuff on. So I went on Twitter and I said some are reporting that he's been sold, and apparently it's been confirmed by whatever team he's going to that he's been sold.
Right. What else did you see? You were down on the field.
Yes, sir. Got to see great sight, man. Beautiful sight. Rui Costa and Paulo Souza like the good old days. Chatting for a while, the fans are bugging out and say, "Epa, já o conheces, deixa ele falar com a gente." It was a lot of funny people downstairs, but yeah, good times. Every time you see those two together, bro, brings back tremendous memories.
Yeah, tremendous memories. As far as Fiorentina, I'll give you the lineup real quick. Sepe as the goalie, Rodriguez, Tomovic, Basanta, and Alonso are in the defense. Midfielders Vicino, Valero. Forwards Babacar, Ilicic, and Bernardeschi. I don't know if I missed anybody. I'm not, but I love my Italian. So that's about it. We're about 9 minutes from kickoff. Uh, Fans, so a decent number of fans, but it looks like the upper bowl of the field wasn't sold.
Yeah, it's close.
So they're feeling it nice. A lot of red, especially. We also had an opportunity to meet some fans. Hugo Destapado was was somebody that we met in the parking lot, and he fed us and he gave us some pastéis nata, and they were awesome. What do you think of pastéis nata?
They were pretty good. You know, I'll give them a passing grade. Definitely one of the better ones I've eaten north of Newark.
And Mirla is in for the ride. She's just enjoying all this.
Just a little bit. Well, you got to consider I am a fan of both teams. So for me, this is kind of like when you get a chance to see two of your favorite teams play each other. Not very often, especially, in a quote unquote neutral setting. It's like mostly Benfica fans, but there's quite a few, much more than I thought actually, Fiorentina fans. So it should be really good though. I mean, somebody was like, well, isn't Benfica technically
Serie A for a long, long time. They've always been competitive. It also got to take into consideration the level of competition that they play against in the Serie A, which you got a lot of teams that, not a lot of teams, but I would say two, three teams that at the time they could probably win the Champions League at any given year. So, national anthem. Sorry.
I had a question regarding
Sorry about that. Where else can you you live stream and you have to interrupt the live stream to stand up for the national anthem? Only here, ladies and gentlemen. Christian.
I have a question for you. Give me your thoughts on Jonathan Rodriguez. Looks like he's going to get the first start here since Lima's been sold. Gets a start for Benfica. You excited? You think this will be his one opportunity? Or you think they're really going to give him a serious look before opting to whether keep him or send him out on loan?
I definitely, I think that he should definitely grab this opportunity with both hands and make the most of it. Of course, he's the guy with the most training sessions in preseason on his legs. So he right from the start he's at a disadvantage. Although they came from Copa America, so it's not like he spent the whole 4 weeks just chilling out at home or at the beach. He probably had 2 weeks of a break as far as not being involved in organized competition. But this is a perfect opportunity for J-Rod, I think.
One thing I'm very excited to see is Feja alongside Samaris in the center of the park. I like that. We're finally going to get to see what Samaris does at the 8 position. So very interested to see what happens here. I know Steve sitting back home will definitely keep a keen eye on that. Very excited to see Benfica once again, bro. Every time we get to see him, it's a blessing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how far the team has progressed since last weekend, since the game up in Toronto. Like Chris, I'm also excited to see what the dynamic is between Fesa and Samaris, especially because Samaris last year was touted as a defensive midfield. And even in the game against PSG, he played as a defensive midfield. So now I'm curious to see what the dynamics is going to be like between those two in the middle of the park.
Nico. Naturally. No, in all seriousness, it's interesting to see how the midfield has evolved in the past few years. And it's always good when, we get somebody new or somebody that doesn't get a lot of playing time. We're able to actually sit here and watch them. And, being able to actually analyze it live versus on TV is a whole different ballgame. So for me, at least, that's probably the most exciting part.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely watching the live, especially from the perspective that we have, which is the press box. We get to see the field from almost an eagle's eye point of view. You really get to see the movements of the team and some of the positioning of the players, which is always interesting to see. But I think that's the biggest thing for me, Cristiano. J Rod and Samaris and Fesa.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Fesa. This is a guy that every time he's been healthy, he's been a very good player for Benfica. Unfortunately, the injury bug keeps on biting him, but let's hope he stays healthy this year, and let's hope that this could be a great partnership between him and Samaris, and hopefully, Benfica stop shopping from that number 8, because I know I'm not too pleased with PZ. You're not as well. So this could be the answer right here. If these guys, especially Fish, if he's able to stay healthy, we might have something going. Also, obviously, Jonathan starting, we'll be able to. Can't wait to see what he got. And then Almeida starting it right back.
Yeah,
that's something else we should point out. So, a bunch of interesting, new tactics here shown by Rui Vitoria. I seen them warming up. I don't know if you were paying attention, but they were playing with the two guys up top, Jonas and Jonathan, like spreading the ball around. One thing I'm a little preoccupied with, I have to be honest, just based on warm-ups, and we've seen him up in Canada, and it wasn't that impressive, even though he had scored a goal and he had a couple nice shots, but that was, I think, after he switched positions later on into the game. But Talisca on the right side, preoccupied because he's got no right foot. I mean, I just watched the guy warm up on the field. The guy has absolutely no right foot. So, by the way, it's a beautiful video, bro. This is an absolute beautiful course year video. But yeah, he's got no right foot, so that'll be something that worry me. But for now, it is what it is. Preseason. This is where we get the kinks out the way.
Yeah, he's definitely going to use him as a guy that's going to drift into the middle, just like Gaitan uses. While before we had Salvio that stayed more onto the wing, and then we had Gaitan going into middle. Now you have two guys that will naturally come into the middle, and I'm curious to see what the dynamic is going to be between those two outside guys and both J Rod and Jonas. Also, I don't know where if Samaris is going to be playing a little bit further up, or he's going to be side by side with Fesa, and then have Gaitan coming into the middle and Talisca coming into the middle. It's going to be interesting to see the dynamics of and the positioning and the routines that these guys have. Of course, this is just preseason, so it probably still needs a lot of work. The system needs a lot of work, but I'm curious to see what it's going to look like. Of course, Samaris is a guy that naturally is a number 8, and when he came to Benfica, JJ said that he was the best defensive midfielder on the team. So he ended up playing defensive midfielder. But I'm curious to see now that he's going back to number 8 how he's gonna play. We're also now that Samaris is going into the midfield, that probably opens a chance for Cristante also, being that Cristante is probably more of an 8 also.
Yeah, it does. But you know what? Just as you guys know from listening to the podcast, I was a huge Cristante fan. I had a lot of high hopes up for this kid, but right now he has not impressed me. Didn't play well in Canada. I'm a little preoccupied when it comes to Cristante. I think this is going to be one of those cases Benfica might have to loan the guy out, give him some regular playing time, because he might not get it here on this team this year.
Yeah. All right. So the teams are coming out right now to play the game. We'll try to reconnect back at halftime. All right. Thank you.